Wow, seems like it's been quite a while since I sat in front of this camera and talked to my men. One of the first things I want to mention is that we've had an election and we now have a president-elect for MDI. Sandy Peisner from the Southwest region will be the next president of MDI, taking office on January 1st, 2013. Sandy and I have done a lot of work together in times gone by, and I can tell you he's the right man for the job. He seems to be at his best when things are the most difficult. He just rises to the occasion. We've got plenty of difficulty laid out for you, Sandy. Since the last time we were together, I've been to 3 different regions in MDI: Toronto, which is Eastern Canada, Calgary in Western Canada, and in beautiful Southern California, Orange County near Los Angeles, which is our Southwest region. In all cases, I was extremely impressed with the men of MDI, not only in the things that we have in common, but in the differences that we have. The one thing in common that we all seem to embrace is the mission of MDI. This idea that we're going to cause greatness by mentoring men to live with excellence and as mature masculine leaders create successful families, careers, and communities. In some way, that resounds throughout our organization. Not every region's doing it in the exact same words, but somehow, some way, we're living that mission in MDI throughout the organization. First, I'd like to talk about the place I was first, which was Toronto. I attended an event there they call a Murray, which is a rhino, and I don't know how much I can talk about that without betraying any confidences, but I know that there's no secret that they have a rhinoceros head, and his name is Murray. And I want to tell you that there's some intimate moments between Murray and I that were captured on film that will not be part of this video. But the men there were just great. We had rain, we had all kinds of obstacles, but the thing that reigned true was, once again, MDI's heart and soul. And I really want to thank Bart Vance and Bob Walker and the other men that were there. Jeff Tomlinson was there. David Turk came from New York to deliver part of the Fathering Forum. And it was really a great day with the men. Following that, which was last weekend, I was, not this weekend, the weekend before last, I was in Southern California. And once again, the process that they did was completely different than what they did in Canada. However, they interviewed their 3 divisions, which are all large divisions, got to the heart of what's going on with the men. And I also had an opportunity to spend some time with Michael Folks, one of our previous presidents, and Sandy Peisner, our president-elect, talking about the future of MDI. So it was a twofold trip and very heartfelt at the same time. And while we're talking about thanking people, certainly Jack Rutledge, the regional coordinator there, and everyone else that made me feel so welcome, heartfelt thanks to you. Thank you, gentlemen. Next stop was only a few days ago, Western Canada, Calgary, and I am so impressed with the men of Canada in general, but even especially in Western Canada. There seems to be something there that has in some way been lost in MDI, and that is this spirit of, it's not a spirit of yesterday or a time warp, but in some ways it was like taking a kind of a step back in time. There's a purity to those men that rings through in everything they do. They had a great setup for doing their regional thing. They laid out what was coming out for the rest of the year as a calendar, each event on a big board. They had no trouble finding volunteers to step up and take on leadership jobs. The whole attitude in Calgary and in Western Canada, with their head smashed in tribe, boy, I had trouble with that. The acronym is HSIT. I've got it down now. It's really easy to mix it up, if you can imagine. But the whole way those men are is pleasant and refreshing. They're just amazing. Nat Franzen's the regional coordinator. Jeff Lawrence is the division coordinator, or tribe leader, as they would call him. And a new guy that ran most of the meeting. I don't know how new he is to MDI, but he's new to me. Jared Blake is just really on track, clear, directly to the point. So that represents the primary leadership. With regard to what's going on in the rest of MDI, I want to tell you first of all that the cause, end abuse, is doing well throughout the organization. Certainly in some places more than others. But one of the things that was really a blessing for me was to meet Jim Ellis while I was in Southern California, who's the man that's primarily responsible for our outreach to other organizations. And while this cause of ours is still in its infancy, I'm confident that it will define much what MDI is in the future. With regard to marketing, we're moving ahead with our marketing efforts. During the convention, there will be something to show you about what the direction of that looks like. Our Chief Information Officer, Justin Labarge, has concluded that it's going to be virtually impossible for us to do everything on one website, but there will be links to other websites that support our efforts. In the future, men will be able to register online, register for events online, purchase merchandise that MDI will be offering, and do this without a hitch through a multiple arena of payment sites. I want to point out that Justin Labarge is a very committed and experienced and talented man doing a lot of work on a volunteer basis. The work he's doing is designed to make the experience of being an MDI member as comfortable, relaxing, and have the best image that it possibly can, to make you proud of our organization, the way it looks to the public, as well as it looks to the men inside of MDI, how you feel about it when you sit in a team meeting and look across the circle and say, there's one of my men. Relating back to the end abuse cause, it's also one of the websites that we're developing within MDI. And this is incredibly important because the job we do with websites like this is our public face to the community. When it comes to ending abuse, we're doing a lot of work within the organization that's physical work and accomplishing a great deal within our communities. And at the same time, we're also realizing that to really and truly be successful with this, it's going to require a huge amount of public enrollment and changing of public opinion. That means raising money. That means public media advertising. It means that we just have to change the perception of how acceptable abuse is today to making it non-acceptable in the world we live in. All right around the corner, Las Vegas, Success for Men Summit 2012. I'm getting more and more excited with every passing day. The electronic brochure that's been circulated through the organization that outlines seminars, speakers, dinners, our luncheon, everything that's going to be going on. And anyone that takes a look at this nearly 20-page document can't help but walk away and say, wow, I'm getting all this for the registration price I'm paying and 2 nights in a great hotel. Hard to believe, but it's really true. There's so much there. And even before the summit starts, even a few days before that, there's going to be an initiation event near Las Vegas. It's run by the Shift Network, but a man named David Fabricius. I've known David for a little over a year, and I can tell you that any initiation that he's going to run is one that you don't want to miss. He has Special Forces training, trained Special Forces operatives. He's a SWAT trainer. He's led those kind of forces himself. Extremely experienced, a very honorable man. 2 days with David will change your life, and there's an opportunity to participate in that event on Wednesday and Thursday before attending the convention on Friday. So, speaking of Friday, we're also going to have a meeting with our division coordinators. A lot of what's going on there is confidential at the moment, but I can promise that those division coordinators or any other man that's going to be at that Friday meeting is going to be a life-changing experience. You will not walk out Friday afternoon the same man that you walked in Friday morning. That is a personal guarantee, and I'll back that up with is what I'll do with whatever you might need from me, but I know that you won't be dissatisfied with that. Moving on to that, the seminars and the speakers and what we have laid out as a program is in that brochure. It's going to be the most incredible thing. I could not imagine last year when we had what I thought was a very successful convention. I couldn't imagine that this year would be as much better as it is, but it truly is. So if you're not registered yet, this is the time, and it's going to be great. What an idea for taking your entire men's team to an overnight event in Las Vegas, or a men's initiation in Las Vegas, followed by a couple of days at an MDI seminar. Time's yours to do what you want with. I'm sure there's shows and a lot of other stuff to see. One of the things that we've done in previous years is spend some time smoking cigars up on the 51st floor of the Rio, having a time in their lives. So be there. Several years ago, while I was the chairman of the board, MDI put forth a considerable effort to develop a 501c3 corporation. That's a non-profit corporation where donations made to it will be tax deductible from your income tax. And at that time, the leadership of the 501c3 was turned over to the current board of directors. Since then, it's been somewhat idle, and it's now being revitalized. John Fleming from the Southwest has agreed to take over the leadership of the 501c3, which has a name, by the way. It's Mentoring Men to Lead. And getting into the distinctions between that and MDI will probably take quite a bit of time. But anyway, we're moving forward with that, and hopefully within the next year we'll be well established into receiving donations and have a lot of money in the bank. Last but not least, there's been a lot of work developing a membership manual, and I'm happy to report that this will be ready for release at the convention. Tom McCarter, my S1, and a number of other men have been involved in that for a long period of time, and the document that I've seen looks promising, and it's ready to go as far as I'm concerned. But it'll be helpful to every man in MDI, and especially every new man that comes into our organization, of which I'm sure there's going to be many. So that's it. We'll see you in Las Vegas. I think I'll be producing one more of these before Las Vegas, but for those of you that I'm going to not see in person until then, I'm looking forward to putting my arms around you and giving you a good embrace, or shaking your hand, or bashing your head in if you're from Calgary.